What's up, everybody? It's Zeta Zulu back at it with another review for you. Today, we are looking at Power of the Primes Deluxe Class Swoop. Now, he is I would say, a reimagining of the G1 Swoop done up for the modern era, for the modern generation's toy line, essentially Power of the Primes. He's back at it again with his Pteranodon mode, or pterodactyl, whatever you want to call it. And he's looking pretty good. He sports a lot of this silverish gray plastic all over the figure, which is real nice. He's got blue for his body and black for most of his joints and whatnot. Now, as well as some red plastic for the head and the lower Pteranodon beak. Now, a really cool thing that they've done and that they're going to be doing with just about all the Dinobots in this line is they're essentially recreating the gold chrome that they did on the G1 Dinobots by having clear plastic painted on the underside with, if I can get this mouth open I could show you. Okay, painted gold on the inside, so you achieve this kind of glossy gold look over the beak and whatnot. And the various other Dinobots have it in different places, and it looks really, really cool. I am a big fan of what they're doing here. The only concern would be it's still prone to clear plastic, like the problems with clear plastic, like easily cracking and whatnot. And the problem I have here is that beak doesn't really close onto the robot mode head very well, so it just droops and it kind of ruins the illusion. So there's that to deal with. As far as posability, you get flapping wings that go back about that far, in about that far. The tips of the wings are on not a hinge, but kind of a pin disc, so they can rotate really far in, really far forward. The feet actually, or the toes, I would say, can bend forward and back, meaning you can actually stand this swoop up. The neck is on a hinge that's more for transformation than anything. It can go down and back up. And as you saw earlier, the jaw is on a hinge and can come down, but it's kind of hard to get at. Man, I can't get at it with my nails. There we go. Me, Swoop, have mouth. So, there's that. His accessories, he essentially comes with a Power of the Primes hand prime armor thing, which really cool. It's all nice and spiky. All the Dinobots come with this spiky variant of the hand prime armor that's coming with all the deluxes. And as far as what you can do with it in Dino mode, it can plug on to Swoop's back with these pegs right here in the back and these holes inside the thumb joints of it. And they just plug on. Actually, no. Not the whole thumb joints, but the thumb joints near the knuckles. That's where they plug on to. Oh, come on. Okay, there we go. Got it now. And looks like he just has a big black spiky block on him. What I actually like to do with it to make it look a little bit better, I like to twist the thumbs back and then attach it. There we go. Looks a little bit cooler, a little sleeker. Now, the other accessory Swoop comes with is his sword. It's in clear plastic, painted over red. It looks really good, really glossy. It's got nice detail in it. And that just plugs into a hole underneath his beak. And with this smaller peg right there. Boom. Now you got yourself an attack swoop. Swooping in with the dive blade. It's actually pretty dumb. But kind of have fun with it. Now, for comparison, here's Swoop. Here's Generations Fall of Cybertron Grimlock. Okay, they look alright together. Here's one of his wave mates, Deluxe Class Power of the Primes Jazz, in his alt mode. And here's him with the newest addition to the Dinobots, Slash. And I think they look pretty good together. You know, Swoop being this clever girl's older bro. And as you can see, like I said, with the other Dinobots, they're doing the same clear plastic painted under gold to achieve that classic effect. Now let's get on to Swoop's transformation. So we're going to take off the sword, take off the prime armor, and what we're going to start with is you're going to take his feet bits and you're just going to flip those all the way up to the back. You're going to unplug this whole section from the back and just unfold it all the way around. Flip up the feet and split it, and now you have his legs. Next step, at least in the order that I like to go, you pull these bits out, which are obviously his arms for robot mode, turn them around at the bicep, and then flip out the hands from the forearm cavities. And then, so you can get that nice head reveal, you flip down the Pteranodon head on that joint I mentioned earlier in Beast Mode, and then flip it down once again, having it kind of tab into the crotch here. Like there's a little peg right there, goes into that kind of cavity in the beak. And now we have our Power of the Primes Deluxe Class Swoop in his robot mode. And mine has a little problem standing. Alright, put him back in the focus. So I think he looks pretty cool. Some additional details now that were not exactly hidden, but you can put are more accentuated, are these little like stickers that they put on the chest to replicate some of the mechanical detail that the G1 figure had. He actually has a lot of really cool mechanical detail all throughout his body that would look really cool picked out in paint. I know a customizer could maybe go in with give it like a black wash or something to really make these detail pops. Like these wings have a lot of really neat, interesting mechanical detail going all through them. Same for the legs. Even on this like really big red stripe, like if you were to give that a black wash, all those like hosing and all that would just pop and look real good. And has his little Autobot logo in the center of his chest. Now you can see his head sculpt, which is pretty cool. There's no light piping on this guy, but I can live with that because he has these really gorgeously painted blue eyes, which kind of show off the niceness of this dude Swoop. He was definitely the kinder, softer of the Dinobots, but was still ready to bash some cons when the time came. So articulation in his robot mode, pretty good. He's got a nice ball jointed head that you can mainly get to go side to side. It would go 360, but he has this big old collar bit in his back. The arms can rotate up and down. It would go 360, but he has wings to contend with. You get a rotation at the bicep, a 90-degree bend at the elbow. You know, the wrists, oh geez, Mine kind of popped out a little. They can really only go in and out, and that's just from the transformation. He does have a waist swivel, so that can go all the way around. But if he's properly transformed, you don't really have access to it because that beak kind of locks in there, but easily dislodgeable. The legs can go forward and back. Hold on, move the wings out. You can go out about that far. They have a 90-degree bend at the, actually a little bit more than 90-degree bend at the elbow, at the knee, excuse me. And the feet can point down, and that's about it. And that's also for transformation. So, well, he also has his wings, which same possibility as in the Dino mode, forward, back. They go up and down. Yeah, the whole 9 yards. Okay, now onto his accessories. It's the same accessories from before. He has his sword, which can just plug right into either of his hands. Real nice, looks good with that. The prime armor and the little clear bit that's in the prime armor, just pop that out a little bit, and you know, has the nice detail in it, but it would look really good if it was picked out maybe in the same glow that they did on the underside of his beak. I feel like that's something they should have did with the Dinobots, but this can also just plug into the hand. You know, it has little Joburg gun, since he didn't come with his representation of his gun from the G1 toy. Ah, jeez, Swoop almost fell on me. Now for his prime armor, it basically connects to, it can connect in 2 ways. It can connect to his back, to his beak, and to his forearms. The beak is, I would say, the worst, because it just clips in to these little grooves, and they're not really that secure with the typical prime armor pegs that are on the thumbs. So it just clips around there, and it looks really stupid. Like, it's way too thick for Swoop. One that I'm more cool with, a little more cool with than that, is you flip out the peg, and then you attach it to his wrist, this hole in his forearm, and then collapse it around. Now he's kind of got this big old spiky punch gauntlet, or kind of use it as a shield to block from attacks. But the least intrusive of what things you can do with this prime armor is you can peg it onto his back, and that's basically done by these pegs going into these pegs on his back, or these holes on his back. So make sure this bit's flipped all the way up, and then just plug it in, and ba-boom. He now has a little mini prime armor backpack, which is a good way of storage and gets it out the way, so you don't have to worry about it being a real lame and boring accessory. Alright, now let's get some comparisons out of the way. Okay, so here we have the, oh boy, this is a big boy, the Voyager Fall of Cybertron Grimlock, who honestly towers over Power of the Prime Swoop. That's kind of funny. We have his wave mate, Jazz, who about the same height. Swoop has him by just his head fin. And then we have his little sister, Slash, who only comes out to about his waist, but I feel that's a really good size difference since she is of a Legends class. Now, we only have 2 things left to do with Swoop, and that is to put him into his limb modes, since he will be a part of the new Dinobot combiner, Volcanicus. He can either form an arm or a leg, and I think Swoop does a alright job as both, but it's only kind of eh. So for right now, we're gonna take off the prime armor and take out his sword. He's already lifting his beak up because he knows what's going down. So we're gonna go with arm mode first. So first you will combine the legs together, and those are essentially done. Now with the arms, you're gonna bend them 90 degrees, fold the hands in, and then these pegs on the bottom of the elbows will go into these holes in his waist. And just plug them in. Okay. Now the head, you're gonna flip up the Pteranodon head, and then bring that whole assembly forward, and the leg will come undone on you because it's not a super secure connection. Now you just rotate the legs to whichever way you want his elbow joint to be. There we go, they weren't evened out. Now the last bit is you take these holes on the wings and get them into these holes, and you do that by clicking the wings down a little, like moving them down on the hinge, and then just closing them in. And they should peg in relatively well. And you want to make sure the wings are out the way so they don't get caught on the forearms down here. So flip those wing tips up, and actually, hold on, it became unpegged. Okay. Nope. Oh, come on. What's the problem, buddy? There we go. Gotta make sure it's really nice and tight in there. And then just about lining up the peg in the hole. And it's not super secure, but it's secure enough. Make sure the wing tips are up or forward, however you want them. And then you just flip out the combiner board by utilizing this peg, and boom. You essentially have his arm mode. Just take the prime armor, flip out the peg, bring out the fingers. Give me a second. There we go. Bring out the fingers and plug it into the hole in the combined feet. And the feet are going to try and flip up on you. It's okay, just work with it. And then boom, you have yourself an arm made out of a Dinobot. And he has pretty good artic. You get a bicep swivel out of his waist, a double jointed elbow because of his hips. Excuse me. And then the in and out from the combiner joint. And it can obviously rotate around on a ratchet. Now the leg mode, relatively easy to get to from here. You just rotate the waist back, unclip the wings, undo the arms, and basically put it back into Pteranodon mode for the upper body. Basically reconnecting these tabs into these holes, these peg holes in the waist, and getting that slight bend. And then in like reminiscent of the Combiner Wars figures, you just slide the legs out on this double hinge, move them up, and then re-slide them back in. Do the same thing for the other side. And then I want to take the hand out and then just close it on up. And then you close the wings back up like for the other configuration. That close up, basically. And then I like to just scoot the wings on in, flip the peg up to it so it's now a knee joint, and boom, you have Swoop as a foot. Now I think he is really thin as a foot. There's no like mass to fill him out to make like a calf or nothing, so that's a little wonky to me. Like if there was a way, I would totally try and hook the prime armor back onto here just to bulk it out a little bit, like bulk out the back of the leg somehow. But because how the wings are oriented, you can't even do it in the way that I showed you, where you hooked it on the back, because the holes are now tilted down and these pegs are only go straight up. So just gonna transform him back into robot mode and sign off. That is Power of the Primes Deluxe Class Swoop. And I would say this is a pretty good figure, pretty good representation of the character. I highly enjoy the figure, and I highly recommend him. I've picked up mine at my local Target, and this was way after their initial release back in November, so they should be at mass retail now. Just check your local retailers, Walmart, Target, Toys R Us, wherever, even places like the Big Bad Toy Store have them in stock, or at least in the 4-pack of deluxes that came out in the wave. I highly recommend him. Pick up your Swoop today. Swoop them up, as they say. Zeta Zulu signing out. Hope everyone has a good day. Peace.